3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Oh, please, sit down. We don't need the applause. We always take it, but we don't need it. But we do enjoy it. And that was real applause, not that garbage applause from the State of the Union last night, because that was garbage applause. Well, let's just be honest. The State of the Union was garbage itself. I see my video is being a little weird, but that's okay because we're going to shrink ourselves down. Introduce our guest for today. What's up, AJ? Our guest for today is Gabe Eltaeb. He is doing his book, Truth, Justice, American Way. Without further ado, what is up, my brother?
How you doing, man? It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, you know it. Always got to spread it around. I was on your show.
Right. That was a fun interview. I learned a lot.
That's how it is, man. We're a community here, and we like to bring people on and go back and forth. Oh, AJ's busting my balls. Whatever, dude. Whatever.
It is true. We no more than start the show, and your internet has dropped down to 0.
Well,
you gotta pay your bill. Pay the bill, Andy. Come on.
It's okay. Nobody cares if we, you know what it looks like, because we have on Dennis's laptop. We actually have YouTube open so we can see it. Oh. You know, back in the 80s, they would kind of do that people would say they put the Vaseline over the lens to give it that filter effect.
Right.
That's how Dennis and I look right now, and that's actually kind of an improvement. So
right.
Nobody wants to see us. And it'll look even better as we talk. You know, we'll interview you and stuff. I know Dennis has some questions, but we'll add your campaign to the stream as well.
Sure.
So now being that big, you guys, that's all nice and clear. And Dennis and I, because we're so small now, we do look clear. So there it is. Marcus says, I'll fix the internet. Well, all right, Marcus, hook me up, brother. Come on over and fix it.
Yeah, Veterans tried. They can't do nothing.
That's true. Call Al Gore. He invented the internet.
Right. Somebody get Al Gore on this. Yeah.
I don't know if I want Al Gore in
You don't
my
have
house.
a big enough runway for his private jet to land in front of the house.
That's right.
Nice.
I don't want Al Gore's carbon footprint walking all over me.
Oh. You disavow his carbon footprint. Disavow completely.
I do. So, Gabe, before we get into the campaign, Dennis always likes to start off with a specific question to all our guests.
Sure.
Yeah, one of the things that as we get to meet, some of our audience knows you, some of them doesn't, and they always kind of like to know, kind of like your origin story. How did you get into comic books? What brought you in, and how did you land your first job, and how to explode? So your origin.
Okay. Well, my origin in drawing is about 3 years old or so, the back of my grandparents' Mexican restaurant in Greeley, Colorado. My brother was off at kindergarten or whatever, and my parents were working. I think my dad was going to graduate school. So I was just alone in the back of my grandparents' restaurant in the kitchen all the time. So I'd pull out butcher paper and just draw endless Star Wars battles. So I don't remember a time in my life where I didn't love to draw. I've just always loved to draw. I didn't have a lot of money growing up. I finally got a job when I was 12 mowing yards with my cousins. I born in Colorado, parents divorced, moved to San Diego when I was 8. And lawn care is huge business out here. A lot of Mexican legal and illegal immigrants do a lot of hard work out here mowing yards. And my cousin had a business like that, and I worked for him. So I'd make $4 an hour mowing yards on the weekends, and I would spend it on like Twix, candy bars, and comic books. And sometimes baseball cards. When I was about 12 or 13, I was with my friend, and I knew about comic books, but before I got into comics, I knew about them. I liked the characters. I didn't know all their names or stories. I thought they were all fascinating. I didn't know the Thing was called the Thing until I was like 12 or 13. I just called him Rockman, and he was my favorite character when I was little because I thought he was so visually appealing. I just loved the idea of this guy. But when I was 12 or 13, I was at my friend Sean Bandy's house, and Jim Lee's X-Men #1 from 1992 had come out like just 3 months before, and he had it on the floor there. And I picked it up, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. The Beast, it was the pink cover with the Beast and Storm and all that on it. And the Beast is leaping a rock. And when I saw that cover, it changed my life. I had to find out who drew this. What is this book? Who are these characters? So I immediately started spending that lawn mowing money on comics. And my mom would take us to the comic shop it was either Wednesdays or Fridays back then. I don't remember. 1992, I think it was Fridays for some reason.
I think it was Fridays still, yeah.
Yeah. And so anyway, I just started buying comics, and I decided that I was going to be Jim Lee's friend. I was going to work for him. He became my favorite artist immediately because it was just the first thing I saw. And then right away I saw Wizard Magazine, and I saw X-Force, and I saw Mark Teixeira's Ghost Rider with the glow in dark cover. Then I saw Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man, and his Hobgoblin story just blew me away. The art in that and the Morbius stuff, and I had to collect it all. It was just such a magical moment. I was a complete Marvel zombie. I didn't get to DC until like 96, 97, something like that. But this is like 92. But I was there for the whole Image boom. So you could imagine, you guys are older than me, you could imagine being 13 when Image hits, what that must have been like. Maybe you can't imagine. It was just like the most insane thing ever. I couldn't have been more inspired. Buying every Image comic, the absolute heroes of mine. And I even as a kid, I understood them like at least what the news said of them walking away from the big companies to forge their own path so they could reap the benefits of all this great selling stuff instead of just letting the companies take all the money. So I go on, I'm reading Wildcats when I'm in like 8th or 9th grade or whatever like that. And I realized in the letter section that the office is in Mira Mesa, which is right by the Miramar Air Force Base from the Top Gun movie.
Yeah.
That's San Diego, Mira Mesa. It's a huge city, or it's the city around the base. That's what Mira Mesa is. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Jim Lee's here? Like my favorite artist has been here for years and I didn't know. So then I was really obsessed with it. Senior year of high school, I find out Scott Clark, rest in peace. I think he was the first illustrator Jim Lee hired at Homage Studios, which later turned into Wildstorm, which later turned into DC Wildstorm, which later disappeared Wildstorm. I find out Scott Clark lives 3 doors down from me when I'm a senior in high school.
No way.
I'm shooting hoops with him at the park at the elementary school by our house. And I remember being there and like the kids are like, that's the guy, that's the comic book guy. And he had a really expensive Mitsubishi 3000 GT sports car. And he was like thin and cool and handsome. And he had like California dirty blonde hair. And he taught me how to play 21, you know, that basketball game 21.
Yeah.
And he was really nice. And he would have me come over and he showed me his book, Allegra. That was his creator-owned book that he was working on. I think was Steve Siegel. And I think they worked on that together. I know they went on to work on Alpha Flight together. So when I met Scott Clark in 1996, spring of my senior year of high school, it became so real to me. Like, oh, he has a wife, he has a dog, he has a house. Like, he's a normal person. I'm a normal person. Like, real people can do this. It doesn't have to be a dream. And I've always been a person that believed I could do anything and anyone can do anything if they just stick to it. But meeting a person, going to his house, he showed me, I still have the drawings he did for me when I would ask him about, well, how do you draw the trapezius? I don't get it. And he drew that. And what about the nose? And he would draw all kinds of things for me and show them to me. And he would show me proofs from Wildstorm, you know, the printer proofs. And he gave me all kinds of stuff. It's really a treasure to me because he's since passed away about 7-8 years ago, poor guy.
I know.
And
he was young too.
I think I heard it was a car accident. I don't know.
No, I thought it was
if we don't know, we don't know. We shouldn't talk about it if we don't know. But,
no, I know. I'm just saying I thought it was a health thing. But anyhow, by the way, I love Scott's work. I actually own a page from the Alpha Flight stuff he did.
Right. I have his work right in front of me here. I have let me see if I can twist my camera. Right here. That is the giant Wildstorm poster, like the 6-foot poster.
Oh, cool.
Every artist drew it. It's a famous poster from 1995. All they're saying, I can't get up to the art really, but let me twist this light. There's a huge poster that was famous, and it's in the wall right in front of my desk as I work. It's like a 6-foot poster in my office.
Oh yeah.
Right on the wall there. And his work is right in front of me all the time. Jim Lee, JJ Kirby, Sandra Hope, Will Sportosov, Scott Williams, Alex Garner, all the heroes. I wanted to be Wildstorm. It's like wanting to be on the Dallas Cowboys, Andy. God knows why. But
coming from a Broncos fan now.
Hey, at least they've won a playoff game and a Super Bowl this century.
At least you're in a different division.
Snap.
He's a Packers fan. So.
Oh, we're going to get your quarterback any day now. Thank you.
You might. You might, although the rumors have suddenly changed this week, so I will be very curious.
That's a negotiating tactic.
Well, at least the Broncos can have a good season then.
Right? They have a great team. They just need a quarterback.
Apparently he broke up with his Hollywood girlfriend. So
right, and that concerns me because her family lives in Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
Oh, and that could have brought him. That could have been more incentive. So,
yes, and he was actually wanting to leave. One of the reasons because he wanted to be closer out there because he does want to do Hollywood stuff. But now the rumors are, if he broke up, he doesn't want to do that. He does like it. We'll see. We will see what happens. There's so many things behind the scenes. But with our coach going to you guys, they're like this.
Like three of the coaches. Like the tight end coach and like the offensive coordinator, and I think I'm the head coach or whatever. The Hackett guy. So, and they love him in Denver after Vic Fangio. What a disaster. So, this is Comicsgate Sports Talk in the afternoon with Beaver.
That's right.
I know.
It's sports all day.
But anyway, so Scott Clark was an angel to me. He really helped me. He really inspired me. And a great thing that I loved was back in the New 52, he started doing covers on like Green Lantern, Emerald Warriors, and I was doing interiors on that. So it's like, hey, we got to have our names on the same book. That was an absolute treat and an honor. I wonder if I can pull some of that up. I've got to go dig into my old art. So anyway, I'm trying to get into comics, and I'm reading Wizard Magazine in 1998, and they go to Wildstorm in La Jolla. La Jolla is like the richest zip code in America. I'm not kidding. Often it is listed as the richest. It fluctuates. Oh, wow. They're like $30 million mansions on the mountain there in La Jolla. You can see it from my house. Like Mitt Romney has a mansion there. Dr. Seuss had a mansion there. Like all kinds of celebrities and stuff.
Oh wow!
There are multiple Ferrari and Lamborghini dealerships in La Jolla. That's the kind of place it is, and that's where Wildstorm was. Wildstorm was a beachfront property right in La Jolla. And what was I going to say about that? I was trying to make a point about Scott Clark and all that. Oh, in Wizard Magazine, they went to Wildstorm and they interviewed the crew there, and I remember there's a picture of Sandra Hope, one of my good friends. What a great lady. And they took a picture of her, and out the window, I could see the Colonial Hotel. I know La Jolla because it's a nice place to go hang out, get a cup of coffee, and walk near the beach. And I'm like, I know where Wildstorm is. So I go there, and it's issue 81 with the Jose Ladron cover. I'll never forget it, of Wizard Magazine. I'm walking around with this Wizard Magazine, 1998. I'm 20 years old or 19. I'm looking up in the windows of the La Jolla Bank building, and all of it's like, it's got to be here somewhere. And I'm trying to triangulate from that hotel I saw in the window. And I look up, and there's a 6-foot cutout of Spartan, Jim Lee's main character from Wildcats. I'm like, that's it. So I go downstairs, and it's not listed on all the offices. And I see Carlos. I didn't know it was Carlos Deon at the time, but I see a kid, like a 20-year-old Mexican kid, come out of the elevator with a long ponytail and an engineering pencil, those blue like Stadler pencils. And he's going into the cafe to get coffee or a donut or whatever. I'm like, hey, you work at the art place upstairs? And we became fast friends instantly. He took me up there. Adam Hughes, Travis Charade, J. Scott Campbell. It was like, boom. I'm like a kid wanting to be friends with these guys. And all of a sudden, I'm like, here's the grand tour. So then Carlos gave me a bunch of drawing advice, and he made some sketches for me. So then I would go to Wildstorm once a week and drop off 4 pages to Scott Dumbier, like in person. I would drop them off at the front desk, and I got to know everyone there. And so I dreamed, this is 1998. So I try that for like a year or something, and it's just not working out. I'm not good enough yet. I'm good. But Andy, that spot where you're good, but you're not enough. Yeah. You're right. You could smell it, but you're just not there. So my wife is like working at a restaurant. I'm working construction or unemployed, because in construction, you work and then you finish the job and then you're unemployed. Then you work and you're unemployed. So I'm unemployed drawing comics, and then I stay unemployed for a little bit because I'm like, well, I met Carlos. I'm good at drawing. They'll give me a job any minute now. So we tried that for a few months, and it's stressing me and my wife and our family out. And my grandmother had passed away, and my grandpa had passed away a few years before. So my mom and aunt inherited a house in Colorado. And they said, okay, you two are struggling. You can go live in that house for free, basically, if you both go to college. That's what they told us. So I went to the University of Northern Colorado, went back home to Greeley from San Diego, and we lived there for 8 years, and we were going to make our home in Colorado. We loved it there. And one night in 2007, long story short, I started doing art at the school newspaper, independent stuff, pinups and image comics. It's like 2003, 2004. really, really rich guy, did independent comic out of, he lived in Bermuda, that Norm Brfoga illustrated and I colored, called The Dangerous Dozen. It was like a metaphysical Dirty Dozen. It was like a crazy action thing with like psychic powers or something. I barely remember it. And Norm Brfoga was another great guy. Rest in peace, Norm.
Yeah.
One of the greatest Batman artists of all time. Anyway, I'm up at like 3 and that's when I met Mike Barron and did a lot of independent comics with him. Because he lives right there too. He lives like an hour from Greeley. So like 2007, I'm up late working on some independent comic. And I keep going over to Jim Lee's blog because I'm still in love with Wildstorm from when I was 12, 13 years old. I still want to work there. I still want to be on the team. And they post a black and white picture drawn by J.J. Kirby of Superman flying in space over the Earth. And it says colorist position open. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. It's 3 a.m. I've been working all day. And I clicked on the blog post and there were 59 entries already and they were all terrible. And I thought, well, I'm better than all of these people. So I colored it and sent it. And I coached Pop Warner football for my son. He was 8 at the time. We're at practice like 2 weeks later. And I get a phone call. And it's Eddie Choi, Jim Lee's personal assistant. And he said, we've narrowed it down and we'd like to offer you the job coloring for Wildstorm. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And but I told them, I'm going to live in Colorado though, right? I can just, email and all that, right? They said, no, it's a staff position with Warner Brothers. You have to move here and work in the office. So I started working there. It was the Patriots' undefeated season where they lost to the Giants. I remember that.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Because the day I got here was the day the Ravens almost beat the Patriots in the final game of the season, the regular season. And everyone was mad because nobody wanted the Patriots to be 19-0 in the Super Bowl. And but I have since come to love Tom Brady. But anyway, I started at Wildstorm January 2nd, 2008. So the dream came true. From the 12-year-old, 13-year-old that saw Jim Lee's drawing to him personally picking me. And J.J. Kirby told me Jim Lee let J.J. Kirby, Carlos de Anda, Livio Ramondelli, Joe Gomez, Oliver Nome, rest in peace, and a few of the other guys that were the illustrators of Wildstorm, they said, Richard Friend, those guys, they sat around and voted. Who are we going to hire here? And Jim Lee, it was another guy they were going to hire. And Jim Lee said, no, this Gabe guy, he's the guy. So my artist that inspired me to work in this business and all that, he hired me. And
nice. That is fantastic.
So that's my circuitous route to getting to Wildstorm. And then very, very, very short version. It was great working there. It was an honor to work on all these properties and worldwide famous stuff. I got to go to 2 different Hollywood movie premieres, Aquaman and Shazam. They treated me nice. But after Trump won, everything turned crazy woke, and they were so hateful to anyone to the right of Mao Tse-tung and to me directly. They just didn't know my beliefs because I just kept my mouth shut. I knew my ethnicity would protect me. I knew that's the bigotry of this wokeism, by the way. They look at my name and my skin color and make a lot of assumptions about me. So I used it as defense. I just didn't say shit for years. But when they wanted to destroy Superman, that was a bridge too far for me. It's like, no. They're called superheroes. It may not be the best-selling book nowadays, but he is Coca-Cola. He is Bugs Bunny. He is Michael Jordan. He is the number one superhero, and I know exactly what you're doing going after him, and I won't be a part of it. Not to our heritage, not to my father, the immigrant that escaped Gaddafi murdering my grandfather, murdering my dad's friends in Libya, not to my Mexican grandfather who fought in the Pacific. I will not destroy American culture. It's given us everything we have, created the best country in the history of the world, period. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you want to do that crap? Do it without me. I'm not doing that. So here I am. And if they want to, and as David Williams says, if they want to fumble the football on this whole American way and all that, we'll pick it up and run a touchdown the other way. And that's what we're doing with Truth, Justice, and American Way. You know my book already. You've read it for years. It's Goonies. It's Star Wars. It's Ghostbusters. It's classic Justice League, Legion. It's the X-Men I read as a kid. It's Batman, the animated series from 1994. This is fun. There's no political agenda. We're not preaching from the right in this book. We're not preaching from the left. We're humanity, heroism, classic values that everyone can agree on. So please support this book. I sacrifice my job to fight for our culture because I understand politics are downstream from culture. And if we teach kids that they are trash because they're white, or they're victims because they're black or gay, or they're racist because they love their country, whatever country it is, we teach them patriotism is wrong. We teach them their fathers are all Homer Simpson and idiots. We are hating children when we do that. And we're destroying the future. I won't be a part of it. So my book, we don't preach. It would be ugly and boring to preach from the right. No one wants that. You don't want me condescending to you from the right wing. And
that's how mine is too. That's how all the books that I've read so far that I've backed on Comicsgate stuff and that that I create myself. There's no preaching. There's no agenda other than have fun, be entertained,
right,
and walk away with a good feeling of this was money well spent. I really enjoyed it, and now I have it forever. And it really is, it's a one of a kind thing. So.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I hear
I mean, Comicsgate, you guys, that you artists in Comicsgate, writers, creators, pencilers, inkers, you guys have helped me so much creating a place for me to come. And then the fans are just the best. They're so much fun. I was on Cecil's stream for like 4 hours last night, and we had so much fun just goofing, sold a ton of books, really got to know the fans better. We were watching Megaforce. Have you ever seen Megaforce? From
I want to say I have.
It was like from 1981. And it was sort of sci-fi action. And the big scene is at the end, the guy's on the motorcycle and the wings come out of it. And he takes the motorcycle up into the back of the big carrier jet. And it's an iconic scene in a horrible movie. And then we watched Gymkata about a gymnast who beats everyone up with gymnastic moves. But we kept getting kicked off YouTube because it kept getting copyright.
Nah, dude, Cecil's a freaking trip. I was on his show back when I first launched First Man, and he's a trip, and he's a great comic book fan, comic book lover,
He's awesome. We hit it off. We talked all about like life, and he was telling me what it was about to be a New Yorker and grow up over there and how different it was. And I was talking to him about here. And I really, because I don't know him that well. We talked in some private messages, and he and I have been meaning to get together forever. And so he finally, he had me on his show. And, you're worried. Like, I don't really know this guy. Like, is it going to be okay? And it was like a new old friend. And I feel that way when I interviewed you and you having me on here and with Graham. It's like, I know these guys. Like, even though they're new, like someone that's like one of my good friends now, and it's so weird, is Chuck Dixon. I've had him on my show like 4 or 5 times, and we both say, like, you're a new old friend. It's really weird. So
Chuck's an awesome dude, man.
Yeah.
I love Chuck.
Yeah, and I'm very proud of this. I make Chuck laugh so hard. I think that's the thing he likes about me. Like he's just bending over, just screaming, laughing like the whole time I have him on. So it really encourages me to mess with him and tell him hilarious stuff. But I couldn't be more proud to be involved. I think what we're doing here is right. I think it would be very easy for me to stay at DC Comics for 20 more years, then sort of semi-retire, and then just be an old man who hated himself and was ashamed of what he did, that I helped destroy American myths and legends, that I helped mislead a bunch of kids, that I helped a bunch of gay people and black people and immigrants hate white people and hate themselves and feel inferior, that they're victims, that I helped a bunch of white people feel like they're monsters. I don't want to do things like that. That is evil. That's pure evil. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean the Homer Simpson thing rings true because out of all the people I know that are dads, Dennis is literally like a Homer Simpson with the way he is with his kids. It's so funny. Really? But, he muddles through life, and, that's why I'm here to support him.
And amazing things just happen. Even going down a water slide, I can get stuck in a water slide. It just happens. I just have to get the space shuttle and get on the ISS, and then I'll be just like Homer.
There you go. Well, I mean, if you want to play the video for the campaign, let's roll that out. Then we can go through the perks and all that fun stuff. We can talk about David a little bit, who's awesome.
Okay, yeah, I'll put up the trailer. And the great Shantan Jetty, Nosfero's his book.
Oh, yeah, he's awesome.
He just sent me an email. He's working on 3 little spot trailers for me, one for each character. I'm so excited. I have no idea what he's going to do. He just emailed me. He just emailed me that he finished the first one. I can't show it here, but Shantan Jetty, check him out on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. He's a monster. He's a talent. And
his campaign is so in demand, right?
Yes, and we have a monster. We have a show on Wednesday nights called Double Impact, and he and I, we break down all the Van Damme movies, all the Steven Seagal movies. We broke down They Live last week, all the Charles Bronson Death Wish, and we have so much fun on that show, talking awesome, the entertainment we want to bring back. So I put my money where my mouth is, and I'm making it now with this book. But tonight we're breaking down Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that's a great one. So I'll play this trailer really quick. I'm gonna hit I hit full screen and it didn't work.
Oh. Well, we can at least do this. There you go.
Hold on. So yes, that is the book, and I'm so excited, so honored to be.
Dude, I'm looking forward to it. I love. I've known Dave for a while. I actually have. Now I got this before I met him, but I'm looking over at it, hanging on my wall. I've got a Nexus drawing he did back from 1994.
He's
from
so
1994.
Do you know how old Dave was when he got hired by DC Comics?
He was like 16, 17, I think.
Right. He was literally in high school making comic books professionally. That is amazing. And he's in his mid-50s now. And the reason a lot of you fans might not know who he is, he should be one of the most famous comic artists ever. But the reason you might not know who he is because he spent so much of his career in consumer products and animation. He was a designer for Ben 10. He worked on the Superman Batman stuff for Paul Dini. And he is a relentless taskmaster on me. He has improved. I mean, I'm a professional illustrator too. I started off drawing comics, not coloring them. And I'm illustrating my own. Beef Law will come out maybe next year or something. I'm focusing on this book. But he's improved my drawing at 43 years old. He's given me tips that have blown me away and amazed me. So
Dave's work is very awesome. I have a spin rack next to my desk.
Right.
And I have the couple issues of or the Supreme miniseries he did back in the 90s on it. So I still love it,
Yeah. I want to address a direct question. Sorry. Eric the Guapo asked, did Dave draw the entire book and you color the whole book, or did you draw certain sections? Dave, he's involved me in some character design, but he's the penciler of this book. The great, 40-something year legend. He wrote the book on inking quite literally. Gary Martin.
Gary Martin is great.
Gary Martin is the absolute legend in this business. There's the Dark Horse inking book. He's the author and illustrator of it. So the three of us are the art team on it. David and I are story. This was David's idea. He had the germ of the idea. He brought it to me. I'm like, oh my God. So he asked me to write a plot based on his premise. I write it Marvel style. I send it to him. He jumbles it and improves it. And then I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. Or I debate or whatever, but we're collabing on the story, and then dialogue and actual script is my job. And then I'm also the colorist. So again, what my book is. Anyone looking at this, you've already read this comic book and enjoyed it a million times. This is top level classic superhero adventures, but it's of the highest level. You've got me. There's 2 Eisners of books that I've worked on, books that have been Eisner nominated 3 times, and 2 of them have won. The most recent was the 2017 Batman Annual. Tom King, what's his name? David Finch and myself did the art on that. And cool. So anyway, and then of course David Williams is David Williams, and then Gary Martin is who he is. So you absolutely have the best of the best working on this. I'll put this up against anything from the mainstream, and it's better. This is better because we're not destroying the story with identity politics. This is page 1 right here. We'll leak out more stuff as time goes by, but David's convinced me to go very slow leaking things out. And
damn Dave, damn him.
Yeah, if you guys saw what I saw of the other stuff, of some of the concept I came up, I always I think in the shower a lot, and I think while I'm weightlifting. Here's a little behind the scenes on Gabe's house. There's a full Olympic set of weights and barbells right there.
What the hell room are you in that you have that in it?
My wife took my home office because she works at home because of COVID. So I have the whole garage to myself. I turned it into an art studio and a weightlifting gym. So I got a huge studio now. So it's awesome. I have 2 desks. I have a desk over there for drawing,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I got the computer, coloring desk, all that here. So it actually works out way better because I was in a normal, like a smallish office before, and it wasn't cool. So it kind of worked out that way. But we got 3 awesome covers. This one featuring Truth. It's Amara Rudolph, former Olympian. She finds out that she has superhuman athletic powers, so she drops out of Olympic competition because she realizes it's totally unfair. She also has a mysterious ability to psychically suss the truth out of people. It's quite terrifying, actually. We have right here Justice. We don't know his name. Where's he from? Special Forces, FBI, CIA. We don't know. He's our Charles Bronson. He's committed to justice at all costs. He is he's not a rabid dog, but almost in the best way. This guy's a complete ass kicker in the streets, in the alleys, in the night, just terrorizing bad guys. One thing I love about his design, on his he has his Glock, his pistol, and then he has his nightclub. And etched into the Glock it says Easy Way, and etched into the nightclub it says Hard Way. So, I'll show you. Then we have here our All-American. This is Joseph Ellis. He comes from a long line of like Pennsylvania steelworkers, high school football player, all-star, all this great stuff. But he doesn't go the star route when he gets out. He goes and works at the steel mill like his dad, and because that's what the family needs. Due to all the cutbacks and the outsourcing jobs, the steel mill is in a very dangerous place, disrepair. He one day falls into a vat of supercharged American steel, and he's now permanently made of steel. So what many people would take as a curse and just give up on life, he's dedicated his life to defending his culture, everything he was taught, everything he believes in. He's that guy that's always laughing and smiling, slapping you on the back, that big, cool, uncle or older brother. He's just a really fun, awesome guy that everybody likes. So that's American Way. And those are their names as superheroes. Truth, Justice, and American Way. They're the honor guardians of America. So okay, here it is here. Let me see.
There you go.
So if you look real close at his pistol, I got to slide this over here.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's the easy way, right? So you
Now
can
you
choose
know
that. You can choose that, or you can choose the hard way. So, choice is yours, friend. Choice is yours.
Is it possible? Okay, so here's a question I don't think has been asked. And, you might not be able to answer it, which I totally get. Villain of the story.
Villains?
Is there a central villain?
Absolutely.
I don't know how much you want to give away, but
that is rolling out. These may be villains. These may be friends. I'll defend these 3 right here this way. If you stood in the dark with a red light coming up at your feet, up an up light, right, and then the lightning struck behind you right as the camera snapped, you would look evil too.
Oh, it's true.
No one really knows. These could be good guys, just caught them at a bad moment where they look dangerous. So
nice.
But,
man, that's cool.
No, believe me, heroes are only as heroic as the stakes they face, as the villains they have to defeat. Luke Skywalker's not a hero if he saves a cat out of a tree, right? It's not very interesting. Nope. So, of course, the stakes are as high as they get in this book. And again, I told you this. You've already read my book when you watch Goonies. You've already read my book when you watch Empire Strikes Back, Indiana Jones. You already know what this is. This is the stuff you love. This is like candy. You can't resist it, and I can't resist making it. This is just too good. Too much fun. So,
no, man, I hear you. Yeah. I hear you.
So, this is all kinds of promo art and stuff. We're just having a ton of fun with this. And I think it shows. I think my enthusiasm, I'm very sincere. People talk. They talk big. They're going to do this. I sacrificed my job in the mainstream. I made 6 figures before COVID hit. Regularly, every year, coloring for about 3, 4, 5 different companies. It's easy as a colorist to make that much money. It really is. It's harder actually for pencilers to make that much money.
I know.
Way harder.
I can still only pencil a page a day.
Right. I can color 4.
Yeah.
I can color 4 pages a day. I can color 3, 4 books a month. That's like $3,000 a pop, 4 books a month. That's $12,000 a month. Yeah. Easy. That's easy for me. So, no, if I'm willing to give that up, that's a sacrifice. So I want you out there watching this. Join me in this fight to save our culture. And I'm not saying from the right wing. The American culture is for everyone. But the one group that's opposed to it is cancel culture people. The SJW. They don't believe in what we have here. They resent it. They hate it, and they don't know how to make beautiful art because they don't understand the principles of art. When you do forced diversity, you break the logic of art. Forget the politics. Forget the morality. I've given this example on a few shows I've been on. Jon Snow, Game of Thrones, is fighting a dragon, and he has to escape. He escapes on horseback. We all believe that because it's verisimilitude in the writing. Verisimilitude is a big fancy word meaning the story agrees with itself. It doesn't have to be true. I can believe in a dragon as long as we stay in that world. But if Jon Snow got away in a red two-door Jeep Cherokee, I would be like,
what the hell is this?
So when you have Lord of the Rings with a big black woman being a dwarf, when Lord of the Rings is fake European history, you're not following the rules of art. Forget the politics. Furthermore, you're being racist against black people because I would say if you want a show with black people, they have legends and history, real life heroes in their own culture. Go dig those up, do the work, do the research, and I bet you it would be awesome because it wouldn't be about them being black. It's about their humanity. If you want strong women, there are real stories about it. You don't have to ruin the new Star Wars by cucking all the men in it. Ruining men, just for you out there, the SJW writers, making men bad doesn't make women good.
Nope.
No, it just makes it shitty. So when you don't follow this verisimilitude of a story, you're not even following artistic principles. It's ridiculous. So we got to fight against it because culture is too important. Our kids that read this stuff, they're going to be like, who am I? What am I? And when we tell them you're a bigot because you're white, you got blue eyes, so you're a devil. You know what I mean? You love your country, so obviously you're a racist. If we make stories like that and tell them that, after telling them enough, they're gonna believe it, and it's gonna sow discord and chaos and failure for all of us. Even the people propagating it will end up failing too. So we have to stop it. So what you have to do is what I did when they want to demolish Superman and then finish demolishing DC Universe. I got to get out of there and say, you know what? Your names are on that in the history books, not mine. You will not put my name on that mess. No way. I won't be a part of it. Maybe you'll do it. Maybe you'll destroy DC Comics, but you won't get me to sign off on it, and I'm responsible with you guys. So that's why I'm like, I'm out of here. And I had to trust God.
I mean, one way I get around it because, people look at me and they're like, look at that bald old white dude. And I just tell them, I go, hey, don't misidentify me. I identify as a black little person.
There you go.
And I will not take it. And then it just shuts them up because they're like, damn it, you can identify as anything you want in this day and age. Well, now I realize I'm talking to a black little person. And I'm like, exactly. Show some respect.
Eric DeGuapo asked me, the villains looked similar to the heroes. Was that deliberate or did it just happen to work out that way? Ooh, well, it's I can't go into the story too much. We'll
you just gotta wait.
He's
going to dribble out some more stuff.
I'll tell you this. It's the same designer, right? Me and Dave are the designers. I am so proud of those villains. I created the villains. Like Dave created these heroes and came to me with the concept. But some of the villains, that picture could be villains or not. I don't know who those people are. But some of the characters I created, you're going to love. You're going to fall over laughing with one of them. It's a badass, but the concept and the name of this villain, I'm so smugly proud of it. It makes me laugh when I think about it. It's awesome. You're going to love it. They look similar. To answer you seriously, Eric, the characters you're seeing, villains or not, I don't know. They look similar because it's the same designers, same concept guys, same brains. It's me and Dave designing all of this. So it's all going to have a thematic look to it for sure. Dave is a master of branding because he worked at Warner Brothers Consumer Products. So if you're getting like a Ben 10 lunchbox, he might have drawn that. You know what I mean? And he also worked as a character designer for Ben 10, Superman, Batman. He knows how to do animation. He is he's like from another planet when it comes to art, Dave Williams. He can do a chameleon-like art in any style. I'm begging him to show more pages, but he keeps winning that argument with me. But I think what I can do is cut out some panels maybe and make another one.
Well, that's what I was going to say because there's stuff on my pages in First Man that I can't show a full page, but I'll show a panel and stuff like that. How far, if you can answer, is Dave into the book?
We're far enough. We don't plan to come out till October. I gave myself a ton of time. It's my first Indiegogo. Don't hold me to this because in writing it says October, so hold me to that. I would love to get it out sooner, and I think we can, but I've never done this before. I've never done the Gemini mailers and go get the trading cards and go get this, go get that. I've never done that, so I gave myself a ton of time. To do this many pages for DC, it wouldn't take nearly that long. And I don't think it'll take us that long. But I wanted to just put it out there because I don't want to disappoint fans and say, oh, yeah, July. And then we don't get it till September and then we look stupid. So,
no, I hear you. What,
but once I
Gary
do this first one, I'll know what it took me and Dave to do this.
Oh, yeah.
Gary. And then I can estimate a little better on the next one. So
is Gary inking over the original pencils, or is he blue lining the stuff?
It's blue lining. We're not bothering to mail it or anything like that.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yeah, this couldn't be more fun. I feel so blessed by God to do this. And if my story can inspire any of you out there, forget comics. Comics are, it's a gift and a privilege to do this, but just your real life. If you're afraid to do something and it's the right thing, charge into battle and do it anyway. I'm like, I got a wife. I have 2 adult children that are just getting off the ground. They live with me, but they're doing really well. My daughter's a stand-up comic, and she was a co-headliner the other night at a big club here in San Diego, and she just killed. I was at the show, and she had everyone howling. She's just so amazingly good. And Andy, you like this. One of her closing jokes, she destroys Kamala Harris. So,
do you remember it?
I do. It's very dirty, though, but it's very funny.
All right. It doesn't bother me if you tell me.
She does impersonations, and you think, she's like, okay, I'm going to close my set with impersonations. So she's like, I impersonate this person, and this one, and this one. And you're like, okay, that's kind of funny. And she's like, I impersonate Kamala Harris. And then she takes the microphone and goes, ah!
Exactly.
So it's a dirty joke, but it's a nightclub, so come on.
Hey, look, it's Brohawk. What is up, David? Did David draw the entire book? Oh, he's quoting the villains.
Yeah, see, David doesn't want anything exposed. See, David is watching me at all times. He's like Santa Claus.
David is like, he is like
He makes
Santa
sure
Claus.
I don't spoil
He
anything.
gives everybody with his artwork. So
yes. So, but David, I did address that already. Don't worry, we didn't give anything away, Dave.
Nope.
But they are saying in the chat they want to see more.
Yeah, Dave, come on, man. Let him let loose with a couple panels.
At least a panel or two. They want to see something.
Jeez,
we'll leak out, maybe someone, not even me, will leak out some panels eventually.
I know. Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
Don't worry, Dave. Yeah, that's kind of scary that Dave always shows up in the chat of everything I do.
He's like
he's looking over his big brother.
Wait a minute.
Exactly.
Is he in this room right now? Where is he? I thought he was in New Mexico.
There's a little camera that's hidden up in the corner.
He says, release the panel. Eric says, release it.
Oh, well, I do have a little something fun I can release. Hold on. From yesterday, Dave and I announced this fun thing. I hope we get some interest and some fun for people, because a thing that was really touching to me was right before this came out, people started sending me fan art, and I collected a bunch of it. So Dave and I decided to do this. I've never done one of these before, but the Truth, Justice, American Way art contest. Step 1, draw your favorite of these 3 heroes. Step 2, post the art on Instagram, because Dave ain't on Twitter. And you tag DWAM's art or at Gave Eltaeb. And then on Tuesday, March 15th, David and I will pick a winner. But John Malin told me last night from his art contest that Dave and I shouldn't be the judges, because then it can make your fans upset that it's my fault they lost. So maybe I'll get my kids to do it, or maybe Andy, I'll get you to do it and blame it on you or something.
Well, okay, so what John did with his last art contest is, I don't know how many people he picked, but I was one of them.
Okay.
But like I said, I honestly don't know how many he picked.
Right.
But I was one of them, and he sent us JPEGs of every one, and he gave us a rating scale of 1 to something. I can't remember what. I think it might have been 1 to 10. And he just said, underneath each piece, score it, 1 to 10.
Oh,
and
he
then
said he got
them back and went through them.
Yeah, and he said, and if you do a decimal point on your score, I'm going to punch you in the face. He said, you know what? He's like, I didn't get into comics.
Decimal points.
I didn't get into comics to do math, people.
Yeah, decimal points were not happening.
That is way too much math for Andy.
That is way too much work. I'm not doing
the only math I'm interested in is counting dollars, maybe looking at the calendar for the deadline, page counts. Not too much math, though. We keep it light in the comic book business.
Yeah. I didn't get into this business to do math either. So that's
my daughter's a stand-up comedian. I told you that. She's been performing on stage, Hollywood, San Diego, since she was 16. She's very good at this. Pauly Shore's sister was her teacher, so we know them.
Oh, that's cool.
But I was arguing with the high school counselor about my daughter's math because I never passed algebra in high school. I passed it in college when I needed to. I actually got an A in it in college. But we just don't like math. Most artists hate math. It's anathema to creativity. It's the opposite of art.
Sure.
And I was arguing with the counselor because they're like, she has to take algebra. And I said, no, the state law in California, she just has to pass whatever, like consumer math, like balancing the checkbook. And I finally told the counselor, I won the argument by saying, listen, the world has all the engineers and mathematicians they need. How many of your little math nerds can go on stage in Hollywood, the same stage as Richard Pryor, and kill like my daughter can? Okay? So why don't you back off on all that stuff? She doesn't need to do it. She's going a different way. Everyone that wants to be a mathematician will get to do it. Okay? My daughter does not need to be that. My goodness. But
no, dude, I hear you. I totally agree.
There's enough STEM schools throughout the country to fulfill that. That is just awesome, though.
Right. And my son and my wife love math, and they're good at it. My wife is a high-level corporate accountant. My son is a corporate real estate agent already at 23. So they love math and numbers and Excel spreadsheets. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, exactly.
That, but it's boring to us.
Yeah, no, my wife does financial stuff. She's all about numbers and all that. Yeah. Even Dennis's wife is all about that stuff. So
yeah, and that's fine. Everyone that wants to do it, knock yourself out. You know,
exactly.
But don't force my daughter to do it, please.
Exactly.
You know? So, but yeah, I couldn't be more proud of her. I couldn't be more proud. She just absolutely kills on stage.
So this contest is based on good artwork. So I shouldn't send in my stick figures because that's
everyone is welcome. Everyone is welcome. I think I will change it to maybe I won't be judging it. You know what I mean? But maybe I will. I don't know. People seem to know I'm well and have good intentions. I'm not trying to be mean to anyone. So
yeah, I wouldn't sweat it too much. So
well, yeah, but I should listen to people that have prior experience. So maybe I should listen to John and get someone else to judge it. So
yeah,
so we'll see. We'll see.
I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you.
I was
going to say with the final time we have remaining. But by the way, everybody, the link is in the description below. So you can go back it that way. I can't recommend it enough. I, of course, have backed it. Dennis has backed it.
And I saw in your chats, everybody was talking about which cover they got, which ones they wish they would have got. I was in the same boat. I could not make up my mind. I liked them all. I was going to pick one. I'm like, screw it. I backed all three. I had to. Because I couldn't choose. I'm kind of indecisive that way. My wife yells at me, being the accountant, because she looks at how much I spend on everything and she goes, stop. And I'm like, yeah, but I couldn't make a choice. So I just recommend, if you can't choose, grab all three.
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Absolutely. But I really appreciate the support. You know, I had to take that step in October. Were you there on Kings that night, Andy?
Oh yeah, of course.
The night I famously exclaimed, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of ruining all these characters.
Nah, dude, I totally hear you.
You know, the problem is a lot of us are such fans. Everybody on here knows I'm an X-Men fan. I've got all the X-Men going all the way back, all the X titles. I'm a completist. I fell in love with them as a kid, and I've gone back and collected the stuff that was even there before I was born. What they are doing to the characters today is disgusting. And you all know I'm on the verge of quitting X-Men. And if I do it, I'll be done with Marvel and DC Comics forever. And which is why 85% of my poll list, usually each week, are all independent, small press ones, plus all the Indiegogo and occasionally some Kickstarter ones. Because though the independent and small press ones are a lot of people that are just trying to put out high quality products and stop ramming the bullshit down our throat.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny to think that conservatism would be the new punk rock. But it's not surprising because the best art, like you see comedians are conservative or whatever because they're not woke. And woke is the dominant politically correct culture. And wherever you have counterculture, left wing, right wing, that's where creativity comes from. Because the people who are counterculture like us, we look at that dominant culture and go, no, that ain't right. That has a lot of flaws. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to get rid of the American way. Because I texted Jim Lee. I told him he was my hero. You know, that broke my heart. He's my hero. He's my friend. He hired me. He let me go to the movie premieres. He gave me his San Diego Padres, like, really expensive baseball tickets. to me and my wife because he didn't want to use them because he was busy. He took my family, just my family, not all of Wildstorm out. He took my family out twice when he first hired me at Wildstorm just to talk to me and get to know my wife and kids. I still consider him a friend. Maybe he hates me now because I spoke out. I don't know. I wouldn't be mean to the guy because he changed my life, and I do appreciate that. But it's so heartbreaking to like, come on, man. It doesn't have to be this way. You know, like you can make woke characters, all that, but don't take the OG ones and get rid of them. It would be like, okay, quick analogy. I'm sorry I sound like a teacher, but you own McDonald's and you just started. You got burgers, you got fries, you got shakes, and that's all you have, right?
Yep.
So you don't have diversity on your menu. Someone comes along and says, you know what? Some people like fish sandwiches. Why don't you diversify your menu? The smart businessman will go, I will add a fish sandwich. The dumbass would take all 5 of his different burgers and replace the beef with fish.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he would go out of business because it's not a fucking fish restaurant. It's a hamburger restaurant. So it's like, if you got a Big Mac and it's just killing and you're selling them for 50 years, leave it on the menu. You want a barbecue burger, you want a vegan burger, fine, add it to the menu. It'll find its own audience. Make gay characters, make Mexicans like me, Libyan dudes like me, make them. But don't replace the ones that are selling good. That's insane. That's just horrible business.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And then you call your fans bigots when they tell you, hey, you got rid of my Big Mac. I'm here for my Big Mac. It's Wednesday. I always get a Big Mac on Wednesdays. You say, that's because you're a bigot. And it's like, that doesn't even make sense.
No. Right. Half of what they say doesn't make sense.
Right.
But
I don't want to defeat the wokesters. I don't. No. What I want to do, Dave Williams, my mentor, my brother, he's my older brother, my brother in Christ, my brother, and he's just relentless on me in art, like pushing me. What I want to do, what he told me we got to do, is don't focus on the hate. Don't focus on the fight. We're not even going to defeat the woke. We're going to convert them. They're going to see what we're doing and go, I don't like that guy. Book's kind of cool, though. It's really well drawn. You know, I read it, and it was actually pretty fun. And then they're going to go, they're going to be inspired. Like when I was 12 and I got inspired, they're going to be inspired to copy Truth, Justice, American Way. I'd be happy to watch them do it. And if you don't think it's possible, if you think the woke are so far gone that it's hopeless, no. I've told people this on the last few streams I've been on. The weirdo hippies rolling around in the mud at Woodstock, 13 years later, they were Wall Street investors with slick back Gordon Gekko haircut yuppies who've forgotten all about the summer of love. These wokesters, they could be something else in 5 years. Don't give up on them. We could change them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, just think about it. What you're saying is it used to be the conservatives were the man. They were big business. They were the corporate. Then the woke society, well, the hippies came out and they're like, we need to rebel against the man. The man's got to go down. We need to be free. Right. We need to love. We need to do all of this stuff. Now, the conservatives are the ones that the old hippies are then coming and say, if you don't remove them off Spotify, I'm the one that you need to take off Spotify because I can't be on the channel. How in the hell did we do a 180 and all the everything got reversed in society?
Because the hippies never had principles. Being a hippie was always about selfishness. It was always about narcissism.
Yes.
They really didn't have a problem with the man. They had a problem being the spoiled brats reaping the rewards of the post-World War II generation. I figured out what woke is. It's a religion of self-worship with 2 commandments. And they're the same, 2 sides of the same coin. The 2 commandments of woke are no discomfort, pleasure at all times. So pleasure is being praised and worshiped like the God they think they are. And that's why they write woke stuff. If you write a story and you change the dwarves into black women, you don't do it because you care about black people. And in fact, you hate them when you do that. You're using them as a prop for one reason and one reason only, to be praised. So I can say, look, Andy, I put a black dwarf in here and you're a bigot and I'm a hero. That's what they're doing when they do that. You know, I made a gay Superman and you're a bigot and I'm a hero. So it's not about gay people. It's not about representation. It's about their God lives in the mirror.
It's the virtue signaling.
Yeah, that's what it's a religion of self-worship.
Yeah.
And everything, the heuristic, the algorithm that they use to make every creative decision is, how will I be praised for doing this? Not how do I write a good story? One of the most touching love stories I've ever seen is 2 gay guys in Cloud Atlas, the science fiction book and movie. Six Smith and the other guy. I don't remember his name. He's the piano guy. It's a heartbreaking love story. And the one guy, spoiler, kills himself because they can't be together. And you feel their humanity. You don't feel that they're gay. You feel their humanity. And it's so, so sad, this story. And
Right.
it doesn't. I don't care that they're gay. You know what I mean? I care that they're humans. And the guy's heartbroken, and he shoots
Right.
himself. And you're watching. You're like, this is terrible. And your heart goes out to him. So of course you can write amazing stories about transgender, gay, whatever.
Yeah,
That's not
anything.
the issue. That's not the issue. It's that thing I said before, the verisimilitude of how stories are structured. There are rules to that. And when you violate them, you break the artistic integrity of the story.
Right.
Yeah. But Stan Lee kind of said it. You know, you can make whatever characters you want. You want a type of character like it, make it.
Right.
Just don't change the set fast characters that have been around that are fan favorites.
Right.
And that is the problem that they can't help themselves with. No. I'm going to change your favorites. Screw that. That is what happens. And that's why they lose fans. Hence why the comic book industry, you don't sell million copy comic books anymore. You sell 50,000 comic books.
If that.
Right.
Correct. If that. That's a good one.
Could you put up Marcus Killiger saying, I wish I could back more. I want to address him directly.
Hold on. Yeah.
Marcus Killiger, you wish you could back more. Well, first of all, thank you. You don't owe me a penny, and it's an honor to have you back me at all. If you want to back more, get other people you know to back. You know what I mean? I'm not going to squeeze another penny out of you. If that's all you can afford, my God, thank you so much. But tell people, retweet it, tell your buddies, you know what I mean? You're at a family function, tell everyone you know, because this is how we win. This is how we win the culture war, not by screaming at the woke. We're going to convert them. We're going to convert them. They're going to see what we're doing is good. It's not to attack them. This is good. It makes sense, and it helps people. It lifts people up, and it will lift them up too, and they'll stop it. You know what I mean? Not all of them, but enough of them will make a difference. But I need your help.
Marcus is a good guy. He actually lives in town. We met him at a con a few weeks ago.
Cool.
Yeah, just a couple weeks ago.
Well,
hey, real quick, Gabe. We're going to wrap it up. But before we do, let's switch it over to football real fast.
Okay.
So,
three-time Super Bowl champions.
I mean,
more playoff appearances than losing seasons in the last 30 years. Highest winning percentage team of any professional sports team in the world. More than Manchester United, more than the San Antonio Spurs, more than New England Patriots. Do you have any questions for him?
I don't know, Dennis.
Of all time.
Any disagreement there with the pack?
Well, no. Just because we're older and we have more wins, percentage-wise, I can see that.
Okay.
But you obviously wanted to talk football, and I'm curious as to why.
No, I just want a couple questions. Cam Newton, is he playing this coming season?
Von Miller ruined his career in this game, in the Super Bowl. Cam Newton, poor guy, super talented. He was going to run the league. I mean, they changed the Madden video game because of him. They added his stuff to it, his RPO stuff. And Von Miller strip sacked him and beat the hell out of him in Super Bowl 50. Yep. And he's never been the same. I feel sorry for Cam Newton.
Absolutely.
A lot of people shit on him, but I don't know if he'll play again.
I don't think so. I don't think so because see, we live in Charlotte, so you know we're very well. You know, we know Cam, all that. You know, he went to the Patriots. He didn't shine very well there. I think I just don't think he cares enough about the game, and he cares more about other aspects.
Yeah,
and he has said he does not want to be a backup. He only wants to be a starter. And I think if he keeps that attitude, he's not playing next year. I can't think of a team that needs him.
They paid him $10 million for the equivalent of a half of a season to come on there.
Right.
Who wouldn't take that and then literally shit the bed with it? So what team's going to want to even do that? He's damaged goods, which is too bad because Superman had a couple of good years.
He could have been one of the greats. He was so good when he started.
Yes, and, he got goofed up here. And once you mentally lose your edge, you've lost it.
Yeah, I really think that Super Bowl just destroyed him mentally, like his confidence or whatever, because he's been a winner his whole life. High school, back at Auburn, he won the national championship. He's been on easy mode because he's so freaking talented. And then Von Miller just knocked his teeth out of his head in that Super Bowl and humiliated him. And I remember all week, I was like, are the Broncos going to do it? Are they going to win the Super Bowl again? And my brother's like, oh, yeah, they're going to win. My brother's a therapist. He's a psychologist. And he said, look at Cam Newton. He's snapping at the reporters. He's impatient. He's all fussy and weird. Look at the Broncos. They were like dancing to rap music with Wade Phillips and Aqib Talib put all his gold chains on Wade Phillips, and they're posting on Instagram like rap lyrics with the coaches. And like the Broncos are loose, and Cam Newton is tight as a drum. My brother told me, my brother said the Broncos are going to kill him. Look at Cam Newton. He's so scared. And sure enough, he played like it. So poor Cam Newton. He could have been something great, but I get he was great when he was great. And, and at the end, it fell apart.
Yeah.
So
what do you think about what do you think the Bucs are doing for a quarterback now that Tom Brady retired? Any idea?
I don't know, but I could see Tom Brady going to San Francisco, go back home to where he's from. But in my fantasy, I was on my walk today. I take a walk every day at lunch, and I take one at night. Walk, lift weights, and then walk in the evening. I do three a day, 3 days. And I was thinking a ton, and I listen to football sports radio. I listen to Denver's 104.3 The Fan on my iPhone every day. And I was fantasizing that Tom Brady comes to Denver, just like Peyton Manning, because he wants to outdo Peyton Manning and go to
yeah.
I fantasize.
I
How fucking mad would everyone be if we got Elway, then we got Manning, then we got Brady? How mad would everyone be?
I don't see Brady taking a year and then coming back.
No.
Because I think even though he didn't go to the Super Bowl this year, he still did go out on top.
Right.
And I don't see him being the type of person wanting to chance coming back after a year off and it not being good.
Yeah, I think if he doesn't come back in like August, it'd be shocking if he came back in November for a playoff run. But I think him and Gronk are probably going to ride off in the sunset together. And wow, what a career for both of them.
Yes.
Instant Hall of Famers.
Gronk hasn't said though yet, has he?
Yeah, but why would Gronk go to Tampa without Brady unless they got a killer quarterback?
Yeah.
Maybe he wants the money. Maybe some team will just sign Gronk to $25 million.
I don't know. Gronk was already retired. The only reason he came back was Brady. It's not a money
I don't think Gronk will be back if Brady's out. And unfortunately,
Brady talk. I thought you were counting on Aaron Rodgers. Boy, I'm so confused here.
Oh, I was just thinking about how mad people will be. I think Rodgers will come to Denver. I think the whole I'm not going to go to Denver is a smokescreen. So it's a negotiating tactic, right? That's
I would love to see Aaron Rodgers go to Denver. I would love it.
Would you?
And then I would love to see who's your guy? Fields? No, Love.
I would
love to see Jordan Love be the starting quarterback for the Packers.
Maybe Brett Favre comes out of retirement and says, "I got 5 more years in me."
Right. What about the Cowboys? Is it ever oh my gosh, Micah Parsons. That's who I wanted in the draft. We got Patrick Surtain II. He looks like he's going to be a Hall of Famer for Denver, but I wish we got Micah Parsons because we don't have great inside linebackers. He's so good.
I'm thinking, okay, so with the coach, with McCarthy, I'm down for giving him 1 more year because his first year was total garbage. They won 4 games, I believe. Last year, second year, took him to the playoffs, had a great season. Right. I'll give him 1 more year, and then if it doesn't work out, shit can him and see if Sean Payton wants a job.
So what do you mean it doesn't work out? A 500 season, 750? Do they have to make the playoffs?
They got to go deep in the playoffs. I'm not saying
they got to go deep.
Bowl, but they need to
I don't think the Rams are built to last. A lot of those guys the Rams are not built to last. So there's room for Dallas and other teams to come in because the Rams, a lot of those guys are going to leave. Von Miller's a free agent. Aaron Donald said he might retire.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Matthew Stafford is already old. So who knows OBJ is kind of oldish too. So who knows how long the Rams can hold that together?
I don't think the Rams are a repeat team.
Stafford, I think, has got 1 or 2 more years in him, and I think that'll probably be about it for him. I was happy for him just because, we played against him every year, and he was always on a shitty team, and he's a good quarterback. Yeah. And at least he got the opportunity, unlike Barry Sanders, who's always been my boy,
or Calvin Johnson. The Matthew Stafford thing is what I wished happened to Phil Rivers. I'm not a Charger fan, even though I live here, but I respect the Chargers. A lot of my wife's family's Charger fans. All my buddies that I grew up with here are Charger fans. And I always felt so sorry for them because the team could just never get over the hump. And I think Philip Rivers is one of the best quarterbacks who doesn't get a lot of respect. And I wished he went to a winner at the end of his career. So
I agree with you, dude. I totally agree with you.
So football. Are you excited about the AFL? What do you think of all that?
My daughter, she'll be 19 this year. She's been a football fan for like the past 4 or 5 years. She got into it. And we watch it every Sunday. She her favorite team, and this is before Brady, is the Bucks. So she was with the Bucks when she was before Brady Bucks.
Okay.
Her favorite college team is Clemson. She hates it when the football season ends, so we'll probably watch it because she wants to watch football.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely check it out. My favorite football game of the year, every year, is the Army-Navy game. I love the pomp and circumstance and the ceremony. And I got to watch it with my father-in-law and then my sort of like grandpa-in-law. We're not related at all, but he's my brother-in-law's grandpa-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. It's my sister-ish in-law's grandpa. And he's 92 years old. And he served on the USS Midway, the battleship that's here in San Diego. And he was Navy for years. So it was really fun to watch it with some Navy veterans. And I love that game so much. That's the best football game of the year to me. So,
dude, I tell you what's the worst. The freaking Pro Bowl. Just
I don't watch it.
Slap flags on their freaking hips and call it a day. Good Lord.
That's ridiculous. Well, when I lived in Texas, we got season tickets for arena football because we had arena football down there. So we were season ticket holders for the Dorados. So we've been talking up here, and they've got an arena football team that's in Charlotte. So I think we've decided we are going to do arena football here as well because, man, that is a fun, fast game.
Yeah, I bet. When I was in college in the early 2000s back in Colorado, John Elway and someone else started the Colorado Crush. And they won two championships in the Arena League, I think, like 2002 or 3 or something like that. So very cool.
Cool.
So, awesome.
All right, Gabe, we're gonna wrap it. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, it was fun, man. Anytime, and you can come back on my channel if you want to push, First Man or anything. That'd be a lot of fun to talk about that again. Is it still in demand?
Oh, hell yeah! First Man, so everybody knows, still in demand.
Okay.
Go back it now. Link for that is in the description below as well. Right. And guys, we will maybe be on Friday to talk about a couple movies. We're both seeing the Batman on Sunday, so we'll talk about that next week.
We saw Shut In, the Daily Wire movie.
Yep, saw that, so we can talk about that.
And we got new comic books.
Yep.
All right.
We can talk about all that good stuff, and we will see you guys on the flip side. Thank you for joining us as always, and we'll talk to everybody later. Bye, everybody.
Long and prosper, everybody.
Bye.